Hey guys, and welcome to Dee Talk Live. Love Talk Mondays on Monday. How are you all doing? How are you all vibing? I know we're in lockdown at the moment, guys, but we've got to still stay positive. We've done this before, and we've come through amazingly. Just believe that anything is possible, and please believe in yourselves. Make choices that adhere to yourself and really stand in your sovereignty, which is what I've said previously and many times before as well. Tonight's topic is another amazing D-love topic, and it's quite fascinating as well. It's something that I had an experience with while I was actually traveling to the hospital. So last week I had unforeseen circumstances that happened with my father, who was in hospital. And the reason why I couldn't do the live last week was because my dad was quite ill. He's a lot better now, thank God, and thanks to everybody that knew about it and has sent through all those lovely messages and beautiful wishes for my dad's recovery. But hence why I say just look after each other, pretty much believe in yourselves, and do what's right for you at the end of the day. And as I said, this lockdown, we've been here, we've done it before, we can do it again. Another thing I want to mention as well is we did a D Love Talk. It was probably a few weeks back, or maybe a month ago now, and my close friend Peter was here from Sydney, and we had a donation, a charity event for little Alexander. Just an update on that. He's been in hospital for about 8 months now, and they've just found 2 blood clots in the Berlin heart that they had put into him. Now they're in emergency surgery at the moment, trying to take those blood clots out. Please send little Alexander love and light for me. You know, I'm going to pray for him tonight so all is well and he gets through this surgery like a little champion. I'm sending my love and my support to the family. They know how much I care about them. And as I said, please keep on donating through the GoFundMe link that we've got on that video on the What Dee Thinks page on Facebook. So let's get into tonight's topic, shall we? Or question that I had an experience with. So I was in an Uber and I was speaking to a gentleman who was lovely. He was beautiful. And he gave me a little bit of background knowledge about himself, about his life, how he came about to be in Melbourne, and what he came here to do. And the main definitive factor was he wanted to obviously come here to make a better life, as we did years and years ago. A lot of the, the migrants, my parents, for example, they came here to work, to make a living. But the main aspect within this, even before, was he actually came here because he wanted to raise money in order to get married to his beautiful partner, who was still waiting for him back in Pakistan. Okay? And he was telling me the story, and it was really, really interesting. But he said to me, in regards to love, because obviously I gave him a little bit of my backstory and we had a fantastic conversation. He was telling me how, he was in this relationship for about 5 to 6 years with, this wonderful girl who, because he had never really had a real relationship. And they were together for a while. But in coming to Australia, he didn't have enough money due to the fact of the predominant issues faced in Pakistan at that time. And now he's trying to get his citizenship and everything as well. And the government is, not allowing for that to go ahead. So he's trying to fight it through legality and, and trying to really find a type of way in which he can stay in the country. So basically, he didn't have enough money to bring her over with him. So, and she said that she would wait for him, right? And she was about the same sort of age, so they're in their 20s. Anyway, then he actually found out that the girl had gone against, obviously, him in a somewhat way, and decided to actually get married. And she's got two girls as well. So she got married, she's got two little girls, and he was heartbroken, he was devastated. And I said to him, I go, why wouldn't she wait for you? I don't understand. You guys had such a beautiful relationship. You guys were together for so long. The compatibility was there, the communication was there. So I was trying to understand the whole story. And he pretty much told me that it was the parents that went ahead and had prearranged someone for the daughter or introduced the daughter. Not in terms of an arranged marriage, because this is quite different. It was the fact that she was at the age, so she was over the age of 20. And obviously the parents might have thought that maybe this man wasn't going to come back, he wasn't going to commit to the daughter, and it's all about fear at the end of the day. They got scared and obviously married her off, and the guy is just brokenhearted at the moment. He's like, I don't know what to do, I don't understand what I did wrong. And I just said to the guy, you didn't do anything wrong. If it was meant to be, it would have been. If you were supposed to be with this woman, you would have been with this woman. Obviously, you're for someone else. And I always say this, that there's always somebody out there for everybody. Okay, that's the way that I think about these things and my perspective on them. Okay, because many things in our life pretty much show us different things, and most of the time it's about knowing that if something happens, it is for a specific reason. And if it doesn't happen the way that you necessarily want it to, it will manifest in another way where it's better for you and better to be understood by you. So that's why I said those words to this, this guy, because he was heartbroken. He's like, yeah, but I don't understand. And I'm like, it's all about tradition and culture, isn't it, with you guys? And he's like, yeah. I go, what do you mean? I go, does the girl have to actually be, married after the age of 20? How does it work? He goes, well, back in Pakistan, it's part of our tradition and culture that women at that certain age, they're looked upon as being a travesty, as, looked down upon because they're not married. I go, but what if they don't want to get married? He's like, most of the time they don't really have the choice, because then they're a disgrace towards the family, or they're embarrassing the family. And these premeditated ideologies and attempts in regards to a culture or tradition have been embedded in the minds of us. So we've got different cultures, right? I'm part of a Greek culture. Okay, a lot of the way that we think about things has always been taught to us at a young age. Okay, and it's the way that we're supposed to think, because it's the way that our parents have been taught to think. So generations, values, things come onto the next generation, and they're taught throughout the ages. But it's up to us to necessarily be the ones to stand in our own sovereignty and be like, you know what, I don't have to agree with that, and I don't have to believe that. I understand their traditions. I love being Greek, and I love my traditions and my cultures. But it doesn't matter that, it doesn't mean that I've got to adhere in a different way, and understand things in a way where, they've been taught to me. I'm the type of person where I like to learn for myself. I like to analyze things, and I like to see what makes me happy. At the end of the day, you need to make yourself happy. Anyway, long story short, then as we continued the conversation, I actually said to him, you know what? I go, do you believe, that, I'm this age? Because he had asked me. And he said, oh my God, what do you mean? I go, if I went into Pakistan, let's just say I went into your country, and he goes, oh, they would so ask you if you were married. And I go, okay. And what would they say? Like, knowing that I was over the age, of 20, right? Because obviously I'm 40, right? And he's like, what do you mean? He goes, you're 40. And I'm like, well, yes. I go, what, he goes, oh my God, they'd look at you like, why is she not married? Oh, it's so bad that she's not married. So they would be quite surprised, and then they would be like, oh, this does not work. Like, how does this even, So different cultures think differently about marriage, about, having children. In a Greek culture, back in the days, it was a little bit like that, where it was tradition to actually get married when you were younger, have kids younger, and, later on in life, be able to go out with your kids, I guess. That was one predominant wish that my previous partner had, to go out and blah, blah, blah with the kids, it'd be fun, of course. But you know what? Shit happens. And most of the times, you don't get that opportunity because you don't meet the right candidate at the end of the day. And you're not at that stage in your life, right, to get married, because your subsequent surroundings at the time are not, John, you kill me, are not, pretty much, oh God, I had it and I lost it. Your surroundings are pretty much not those surroundings that are agreeing with what everybody wants you to do. So, there might be, and I even asked another question actually to my cousin the other day, and she said to me, I said to her, do you think that we would have been married earlier if we lived in Greece, right? Because obviously when you're in your own country, in your own culture, in your traditions, sometimes things happen. You might meet somebody along the way, and it's more, I don't know, there's a more, like a larger percentage in order for you to get married, right? This is what I think. Because you're around your own culture, tradition, people put things in your ears, they try and persuade you, blah, blah, blah. And then my cousin's like, no. And I'm like, okay, tell me why though. And she actually told me, she said, we're different people, some people are viewed for marriage, others aren't, others somewhat might get married later, or, they're a little bit more independent and they don't really want, marriage or kids, or, and we're in a different sort of dynamic. We would have been different people. It's all about character, personalities, and what you want, right? So I understood where she was coming from. But in a sense, it's like when you're with somebody for a while, right, and you want to get married, that's a different kettle of fish. That's a different story. But in regards to the culture side of things, I don't agree that as soon as you're 20, it's like, okay, let me just, marry this person off, or, get it out of the way. And it doesn't work like that, Like for me, it's all about love. It always has been. I understand it's all traditions, and it's, it's all about how we view things and understand them within a culture. And then tonight's question reflects upon that hugely, because it's how do different cultures view marriage around the world, and then there's somewhat traditions behind it as well. I actually commented on the post in regards to undesirable marriages and the traditions behind some of the other places around the world. For example, in France, I don't know if many of you know, but there's an actual, especially in France, right? So when they get married, apparently it's tradition for the bride and the groom to drink champagne and chocolates out of the toilet. And I was like mortified when I read it. I'm like, oh my God. And apparently it's also normal on the wedding night, this is, right? On the wedding night. And then afterwards, what basically happens is they have a really bad stomach ache after it, because obviously if you drink from the toilet, you drink champagne and chocolate, what do you think is going to happen? Of course your stomach's going to hurt, but it's part of their tradition, right? It's part of the culture, the tradition, the synopsis behind it, okay? Hello to everybody, and thank you all for your kind words. I love you so much. Wow, thank you for joining me, you guys. You rock. So it's all about, it's all about the tradition. It's all about what they want from you. My parents expected me to have children years and years ago, but unfortunately it didn't happen, right? It doesn't mean that my parents are going to sit there and be like, oh, okay, we're going to disown you now and we don't want to have anything to do with you. I get that it's tradition. I get that it's culture-based, but at the end of the day, you've also got to be happy, and you've got to really enjoy being with someone in order to take that next step. You know, can these traditions and cultures be changed? I don't know. It might have to do with the individual and the preference they have in regards to, you know, going that next step and making that decision, especially at a young age. And maybe it might have to do with, you know, the parents and the way that they view it and what they say, and, you know, the child, if it's obedient and it listens to every single thing that the parent says. That's another thing as well, right? So in regards to obviously my Uber driver's experience, and you know, within terms of Pakistan and everything, he hadn't seen his family for over 8 years, including the significant woman that we were talking about. Okay, and he obviously was, you know, upset, and he obviously was able to confide in me and talk about the situation. But what he did say to me was, when I get back, you know, if I have to leave this beautiful country, because he's made such a great impact and, you know, worked here for that many years now, he goes, I know, he goes, they probably will try and marry me off, you know, and try, you know, but he goes, but I don't know if I even want to do that, because it's not something that really interests me, because it's not someone that I've been with, like he was previously with his girlfriend for 6 years. Okay, so marriage is not a thing where it's like a drop of a hat. I'm going to get married to this person because they're telling me to, or, you know, it's part of my tradition and I need to have kids and so forth and so on. It's a massive commitment that really needs to be taken seriously, firstly, and it's something that is an individual, you know, choice. So within terms of his situation, it's predominantly very, very difficult. Even in other cultures, you know, Muslim cultures especially, a few of them obviously get married to arranged, as well, as we've already spoken about, but they get married quite young because they're at that age. And, you know, and a really good example is Mary Claire had done a fantastic article in regards to women and women from, I think it was Saudi Arabia, countries from there, and it had to do with the whole marriage aspect, and also the fact that, you know, these women actually wanted to work, but and that's where equality comes into it as well, right? So this is another massive issue, especially in regards to being viewed as a woman being, you know, in one of the top jobs in an organization, right? How we perceive and view things, okay? So these women actually wanted to, you know, go out and work, and the issue at hand was the fact that the male dominant side of things, fathers or families, or, you know, because of tradition and culture, didn't allow them to do so, because they thought you were only good for the kitchen or to have kids, and that was about it. Your job was done. Well, have times changed, buddies? Have they changed? Women are powerful, strong, dominant characters that actually help the male masculine become even more amazing. And we are so worthy of everything that males are worthy of. Okay? So it's about equality. But that had to do, again, with the culture and the traditions. So that article was huge. They had, I can't remember what it was called, but you probably can find it even on their website, because they would have archived articles in relevance to something like this in regards to cultures, war, you know, even sexual orientation, you know, sexist, racism, you know, like, it will all be in there, guys. Like, anyway, so going back to my point, okay, when you're part of a particular tradition and culture, you're viewed upon badly only because, you know, it's been a tradition, that's been carried out throughout the ages, okay, and that's how people view you. But I think now, due to the fact that we're in 2021, ideals and the way of thinking has somewhat changed to an extent, I think because of generations that have come in and made somewhat of a difference, have persuaded these traditions and cultures and people to not only be one-sided and to understand the real essence of, wanting to get out there and doing something with your life, especially being female, okay? Even though they might think that, marriage is the be-all to end-all, in many cases, I disagree. It's not. If that's what you guys want to do, you do what your heart sings out to do, okay? But most of the times, there is a way, out in regards to, not wanting what your parents want for you. That's the main thing, or what tradition says you have to do, or, a way you have to be, or, a way you have to act, just be yourselves. That's the main thing of today's topic. Thank you again for you all. Look at like English. I speak great England. Thank you to everybody for joining me tonight on another sensational Dee Love Talk Mondays. I'm quite excited. I hope everybody is doing well during this lockdown as well here in beautiful Melbourne. Please keep safe and don't let this get you guys down, because you know what, we're going to rise up again like we always do, and it'll be, back to a new type of normal in no time. Please believe that. Really, really think positive, do things that make you smile, and keep yourselves busy. Always surround yourself with those that you love and bring out the best in you, and also the best type of energy that's needed right now. And I will see you guys on Thursday, and I've got a frog in my throat, on Thursday for Dee Talk Live. I have got a new article coming out on Thursday, which I am ecstatic about, because this was the article we were supposed to launch last Thursday. But as I said, due to my father being unwell, we weren't able to get it out for you guys last Thursday. But this Thursday, we are ready and raring to go. And I can't wait for you all to listen to what I have to say in regards to this topic, and to read the article and let me know what you guys think. Give me beautiful constructive criticism, because it's like #1 for me. You guys rock. I love you all so much. Please take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Have a magnificent evening. Always be positive and shine for the world to see, and believe in magic. And I'll see you guys on Thursday for Dee Talk Live. Love you guys. Sending you all so much love and light. You guys rock. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everybody. See ya.